Hi everyone, I'm Sean Duhamel from the Mass Retirees Association. Thanks for tuning in once again. Today is December 20th. We're 5 days out from Christmas. This is going to be the last update of the year. We'll come back to you again on Friday, January 2nd. And before I get into the meat of things today, I just want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in. We have been doing these videos since all the way back in March. We started out on Facebook, we expanded to YouTube and emailing these out to our membership every week. And we never expected that they would become as popular as they have. So thank you for that. We're certainly going to keep doing this heading into 2020 and beyond. We're also looking for new ways that we can communicate with you and get information to you and just make this more interactive, more exciting for all of us. So thank you once again. And thank you for our members, for your loyalty, for sticking with us and remaining as a member. That's what keeps the lights on here for the last 51 years. So it's a labor of love for all of us here in the office. So I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year to all of you. And we're ending 2019 on a high note. We feel very optimistic about things. And it's not just me. I'm an optimistic person by nature. My glass is almost always half full every day. It's just the way I'm wired, which is a good thing. But that, regardless of that, we're ending 2019 on a high note. The insurance marketplace in Massachusetts and around the country, despite the challenges that we have, remains stable. Just yesterday, Bill Reary and myself were present at the Group Insurance Commission monthly meeting. They announced the process and the planning and the schedule of what's going to come for the next few months. We're not anticipating any massive changes, or really any big changes at the GIC for the coming year. That doesn't mean that we can just sit back and assume that everything's going to remain the same, because that's never going to be the case. And you can never let down your guard when you're advocating on these issues. It's just too important. But that being said, we don't anticipate any big changes. Now, the range of increase in the total cost of the plans, and this is going to vary depending on which insurance plan you happen to choose from. And thankfully, there are several different plans, several different insurance carriers that the GIC offers. So this isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's going to be what works best for you and your family. But heading into FY21, which starts on July 1st of next year, the average cost across the plans at this point in time, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but it's going to range from somewhere between 4 to 7% on average. And 7% we think right now will be at the absolute top level. And no one anticipates it's going to get to 7%. That's really the worst case scenario, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's probably going to be more in the 4 or 5% range. Now, in the private sector in Massachusetts, the range is anywhere from 5 to 7%. So we think, and this is typically the case, the Group Insurance Commission, as well as Blue Cross Blue Shield at the local level, have done a very, very good job of beating the private marketplace, and not only in terms of price, but offering fantastic quality plans. And we want to make sure that that remains the case. Now, the big challenge, of course, at the state level and in an increasing number of cities and towns is the fact that our members, the retirees, are paying more and more and more money out of your own pockets, higher co-payments, having deductibles for the first time. These are troubling things because it really affects the ability of our members who, don't forget, and you know this better than I do because you're living it every day, you're living on fixed incomes. And that means that the longer you've been retired, the harder it is to keep up. Now, speaking of that issue, and we've said this again and again, we are working very closely with the GIC, specifically on the issue of the non-Medicare eligible retirees who are over the age of 65, to make sure that affordability issues and concerns for this group of retirees that number in the tens of thousands, that those concerns are addressed. And the GIC at their last 2 meetings, yesterday being one of them, has specifically talked about the non-Medicare retirees and the work that's going on behind the scenes to find a way to get control over those costs and hopefully lower those out-of-pocket costs for our members. Now, Frank Valeri and Bill and myself are going to be sitting down with GIC officials early in January for an update on where things are at, and we'll be reporting to you immediately. The other big news that came out of the GIC, and again, we've been reporting on this as well, is that the Commission wants to find a way to increase that basic life insurance benefit from the current $5,000 up to $10,000. Now, earlier this week, Frank and I met with Aaron Michowitz. Chairman Michowitz is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee here in Massachusetts. He's a state representative from the North End here in Boston. And Aaron is one of these people that the best way to describe him is that he gets it. He understands. You know, every day when he's walking down Hanover Street in the North End, he's running into retirees who, are talking to him about these things. And it's just the way that he is and the way he was brought up that he gets it. And we had a very productive meeting, and that doesn't mean that he can be all things to all people, and there are no rubber checks. We get it. Or blank checks. We don't want a rubber check. We don't want a blank. We want a blank check. We don't want a rubber check. But there are no blank checks. And we understand that. But we're going to be working closely with the legislative leadership and Aaron Michowitz on the House side and Mike Rodericks on the Senate side to find a way to address these issues. So whether it be life insurance, the veterans bonus, option B and C recalculation, working on our new COLA strategy going forward for the COLA enhancement, and we'll be reporting on that more in January. That's something that continues to evolve behind the scenes, and we're getting close to being able to put pen to paper and let all of our members know what a new COLA benefit is going to look like. So there's a lot to be optimistic about, and hopefully by all of us working together, we can find a way to improve benefits rather than just defend what we already have. That's really the goal. We want to be able to make things better for people and not just hold on for dear life to what we already have. Now, at the national level, I'm also really optimistic, and my optimism is shared by people like Tim Lee down in Texas and our friends in Ohio and our friends in California, that we believe we are getting closer, very close indeed, to the time when we're going to be able to pass a reform of the windfall elimination provision, which is devastating from a financial standpoint to nearly 2 million public retirees around the country, including 73,000 Massachusetts residents. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of voters. And we are going to continue working very closely with Congressman Neal and our congressional delegation going into 2020 and throughout this coming year to pass HR 4540. Don't forget, the congressional session runs all the way through 2020 and into the first week of January when the new Congress will come in. So we have time, and we want to get this done sooner rather than later. We already have plans to be in Washington, D.C. later in January, and we're very optimistic that progress is going to continue, momentum is going to continue to build, and we're heading down the right path, but it's because of the work that our members have done on this issue. You've made the calls, you have sent the emails and the snail mail to your local congressman asking for them to support HR 4540, and more importantly, asking them to make this issue a priority to get this done, to do something to get this done on your behalf. So we are optimistic, and we have a lot to look forward to heading into 2020. But again, thank you so much for your support. On behalf of our entire staff here and all of our executive board members, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a very happy and healthy New Year to come. Thank you so much.